What's going on, boxing fans? DA here with another boxing video. Damn. Just finished watching up the Brandon Rios versus Mike Alvarado 2 bout. Now, there's a few things I gotta mention going into this review here, or this post-fight commentary I have running. You know, I've said it plenty of times in my past review videos or my past commentary videos. There's just so much damage I believe a man can take before he's at the end of his rope. You know what I'm saying? Like, for anyone out there listening to this, or have watched my videos or listened to my videos in the past, I've brought up the Israel Vasquez versus Rafael Marquez fight. You know, I've brought up the Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward fight. You know, the real brutal bouts between two men that take a lot out of their careers. And one guy is always going to be able to take it more than the other guy. In this case, in Israel Vasquez versus Rafael Marquez, Israel Vasquez was the one who took the brunt of the damage, and he had to retire early because of it. I view Brandon Rios versus Mike Alvarado the same way. Brandon Rios is a guy that can take the punishment well, as far as from what we can see on the exterior. You know, I'm not, who knows what's going on in his head, if there's any damage there. I hope not. I don't want to see any Joe Macy type ordeal where you got bleeding on like the top of the brain and shit like that. But Alvarado took a lot of punishment from a hard hitter like Brandon Rios. It's obvious from what we can see in the fight that Mike Alvarado cannot hit harder than Brandon Rios. Yes, he stunned him, but not enough to where he can put him away. Brandon Rios was proved to us that he was able to put Mike Alvarado away in the first fight. That's why it only went 7 rounds. In this fight, the second bout, it went all 12. But Mike Alvarado just looked completely worn out. This fight took so much from this guy. It's like he fought in. It's like one fight with Brandon Rios. It was like maybe 2 or 3 fights he could have been in. You know what I'm saying? It was like this complete opposite. And I hate to see guys get into wars like this for the entertainment of others. I can understand where guys like to fight. That's how they make their money. That's how they live. That's how they breathe. And Mike Alvarado welcomes this. Brandon Rios welcomes this. And it's just like, they put on such a great fight. Their styles complement each other. It can go either way. Very Marquez, Pacquiao-esque. That's a lot of love, a lot of respect coming from my end, And I got all the respect in the world for Brandon Rios and Mike Alvarado. It's just, I hate to see a guy, two guys, just go into a ring and just leave it all in the ring. You're like leaving nothing for the future. You're not trying to have a well put together career to where you can sit back and say, like, you know what, I think I can, and I like this. I like what I did in my career. I like what I did, and I have no gripes or anything to say about it. And that's how a career should be. Okay, I'm not saying that if Mike Alvarado happens to, retire in the rubber match, obviously the third fight that they're going to have against Brandon Rios, I'm not going to say he can't sit back and say, like, oh, if I could have done it again, I would do it differently. I'm not saying he would say that or he wouldn't say that. It's more so just my personal opinion, which obviously has no bearing on anything, because obviously it's my opinion, It's just like an asshole. Everyone has one. That's just how I view it. I'm not trying to downplay the fight, because I thought the fight was beautiful. It was very entertaining from a boxing fan standpoint. Now that's the boxing side of me saying that. That's awesome. That's some, I wouldn't say it's obviously great boxing, but it was great entertainment for two boxers to be in the ring who can, withstand that type of punishment. But I guess you could say from a personal perspective, I really hope Mike Alvarado is all right. Brandon Rios, same goes for him, going into this third fight. going into like the first and second round, especially when Brandon Rios hurt Mike Alvarado early, and I think he hit him with like a jab, I think it was, if I remember correctly. It was a jab that set him off, and he kind of stumbled a bit. He had Mike Alvarado stanky legging a bit, kind of tip drilling. And I thought, oh man, don't tell me this fight's over already. Like it's already in the second round, and Brandon Rios already got this dude figured out. And then I just had my head up. I was like, oh, this fight's over. He gonna beat the shit out of Mike Alvarado, and this is gonna be it. But no, Mike Alvarado held his own. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do so much what he did in the first fight, where he really stood in the pocket and just looked, connected heads with Rios and just stood there and just let Brandon hit him relentlessly with every shot in the boxing manual. And Mike Alvarado just took everything like, oh, give me everything. Come on, I can take it. It wasn't even like that. It was completely the opposite. Brandon Rios was relentless with his attack, like similar to the first fight, but Mike Alvarado seemed to find a way around it a bit. I mean, yeah, he took a lot of punishment. You can tell that by his face and the cut over his left eye. But when he went into Brandon Rios, he would hit him a few times just so he would get Brandon Rios to react. Then he would back up a little bit. Then he would go back in and causing like Brandon Rios time to reset a little bit, And Jim Lampley, I think it was Jim Lampley or Roy Jones brought up a good point where he said that Brandon Rios would stalk Mike Alvarado to the point where he would bait him into exchanges. And that's where the brunt of a lot of Mike Alvarado's punishment came from, was from Brandon Rios luring him into a firefight. But Mike was more so like, I'm not falling for that. I'm not falling for what I did in the first fight. That's what got me knocked out. So I'm going to play it cool. I'm going to stay away from you, put space in between us, acquire some distance, lay some shots on you. It worked in spots, but it still seemed that Brandon Rios was able to land pot shots from a considerable distance that landed on Alvarado consecutively. Like I can't really recall the round, but Brandon Rios landed like 2 or 3 straight rights on Mike Alvarado as he was moving while Brandon Rios was cutting off the ring. And I was like damn, he's catching him off the run. And Brandon Rios isn't exactly known to be an outside fighter, but it was just like he threw it out there just to see what would happen. Landed, bam, threw it out there again, landed, bam. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Brandon Rios learned something while training. That was cool. Mike Alvarado, going back to what I said about him changing the game plan, he showed what he had, that he brought in as a new game plan. They had formulated something different, and he fought him a little different, and he obviously paid off because he came out with the win. Now, whether or not that game plan contributed to the win, or was it more so that Brandon Rios has let off the gas a little bit? That's the real question. Because Brandon Rios did seem to slow down a tad once Mike started to land a little bit. It's like Mike started to land and he would move around the ring a little bit while Brandon would cut it off, but it was more so like he was tired of chasing after Mike. It was like, damn, I'm getting tired. I want to chase this guy around all night. Just stand in the center of the ring and let me punch your face off, It wasn't even like that. So either Brandon got tired or he just got bored chasing Mike, or Mike literally just outboxed Brandon. I'm not so much thinking the latter than the former, but that's just how I saw it. But y'all might have saw it differently. Yeah, the all in all, the fight was great. I mean, I can't wait to see the third fight, and stuff like that. Hopefully it ends at a third fight. I don't want to see a fourth fight. Sure in the hell don't want to see a fifth fight. I don't want to see these guys literally beat the shit out of each other to the point where one of them is in the hospital, with brain damage over a fight. Just call it quits. If there's when the third fight does happen and someone loses, whoever it is, leave it there. Leave that trilogy there, because the longer these two fight each other, the more likely the likelihood of their lives being in serious jeopardy here. I hate to see good fighters go to waste because, all they want to do is fight each other, beat each other to a pulp. That's just a humanitarian in me, so we'll leave it at that. But going into the fight before that, the guy's name is Crawford. Forgive me, I don't know his first name. I want to say Jamal Crawford, but I think that's a football player. But anyway, I don't know. But one of you guys will correct me. Nonito Donaire made a comment on the Twitter at the bottom that came up. He said that Crawford was a lot like Parnell Whitaker, but less slick. Now, I will say that. 100%. I agree with that. Nonito Donaire was right on the money when he with that comment. Brady's Prescott was really frustrated in an entire fight from the beginning to the end. He was extremely frustrated. He was bitching to Vic Draculich about certain stuff that wasn't even going on necessarily. He couldn't catch the guy. Crawford kept beating him to the punch. To me, when I first saw that fight, I was like, damn, you know what Crawford reminds me of? He reminds me of Timothy Bradley when he fought Junior Witter over in the UK, a guy nobody really knew about, but, he got his big break, on TV, beating a guy that I guess you could say not a lot of people thought he had a chance of beating. Maybe it was one of those gimme fights where it could have been gone either way, but Crawford showed that this guy has what it takes, you can, what am I trying to say? Tighten up the edges a little bit, how they would say, and throw them out there and work with them a little bit and see where it takes them, stuff like that. And look what Timothy Bradley's career it took off after the Junior Witter fight. Took off, boom, still undefeated. Crawford, I can see doing the same thing. The guy has a great jab. I mean, he can. It's so fluid. He can move from the southpaw stance to the conventional stance, of right-hander. I see it all the time, but it's just like how guys can do it seamlessly. I think that's the beauty of it right there when you can do it seamlessly. I like that. I'm gonna keep watching the guy. I'm gonna be on the lookout for him. There's a lot of up and coming boxers coming out that I look forward to seeing, and him and Gary Russell Jr. are some of the guys I want to see on TV more, Even Gary Russell, he just definitely deserves it. But, I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, like, comment, subscribe. If you like what you hear, we'll talk about it. But, I'm going to cut this video short. It's going on 12 minutes. I will catch you guys later. See you in the comment section. Peace.